Good morning to you all. For those who have not met me, I'm Barbara Brodsky, the guide and teacher of Deep Spring Center. It's wonderful to be here with you. Dorothy Ann and I were to be leading the retreat. And then, as you may have heard, my husband had a major stroke 2 weeks ago. I got up in the morning, it was a beautiful day like today. We had planned a wonderful day. We were getting an early start, going to the gym and then up for breakfast, to do some errands, go for a walk in the park, come home and have dinner and see a movie. Such a lovely day, and I walked into the kitchen to see if he was ready to go. And he was unconscious on the kitchen floor in a pool of blood and vomit. So of course I called 911, an ambulance came. A little funny piece on this. I came in before I got dressed to see, how are you getting dressed? Are you getting ready to go? So I was naked. Walked in, I ran into my phone, I called 911, they said stay on the line. So I had my bathing suit there because we were going to the gym. I pulled my bathing suit up. So he was moved yesterday from the ICU at U of M to a acute care, longer term rehab facility that's housed in St. Jude's. We have no idea what the future will hold. Obviously, this is a major trauma in his life, in my life, and my son's lives. My 3 sons all came in that day. It's exactly 2 weeks yesterday. And they've been with me for 2 weeks, putting their lives on hold, their families, their work. I could not have done it without them. But still, this is my husband and my life. How am I going to live my life without him? We've been married for 50 years. A lot of fear, grief, sadness, financial uncertainty. If he needs long-term nursing care, it's pretty much going to eat up all of our savings. Eventually, he'll get on Medicaid. But not until I'm literally poor, is how they dealt it. So he has to use up all of our savings before he can go on Medicare. Then what do I live on? So fear. Fear about the future, fear about a lot of things. I'm talking about this mostly to share the fruits of practice. Why are you here to learn Vipassana? In what way can it support you through this kind of major change and trauma in your lives? These things happen to us. One moment, please. Am I going too fast?
Well, not really.
Shall I slow down?
Okay.
Okay. I want you to get it. It's been a joy having Jeremy in class this year. Because we are all slowing down for him. And that means I get what people say. But I have to slow down too. Everything changes in a second. A friend wrote me an email yesterday, 2 days ago, when it was snowing, whenever, I've lost track of the days. She was getting off the freeway exit to her home, and she skidded in a patch of black ice, and her car spun around in front of the next lane of traffic for a moment. And the car swerved around her and continued to spin and went off the side of the road, not turned over, fortunately, just slipped off. And she said that 15 seconds seemed like an eternity. Each second slowed down, and she could have been killed or badly injured. everything changes in a moment. Our practice is not to stop emotions, or pain, or fear. That's simply a stifling. It's not living, it's shutting down, armor. Now, of course, even at our best, we're going to armor ourselves when things are very painful. But when the stories come up, what will happen, not just what will happen, but noting the anxiety, fear. They'll take all my money here. I'm going to have to live in a tent somewhere out at Friends Lake. I'm going to have to live in a tent. Well, I've got a -0 sleeping bag. Okay, I'll be okay. So many stories. Letting go of the stories doesn't mean I cut off the story. No, I won't have the story, but noting that movement. So first, I'm breathing and I'm peaceful. Or I'm lying in bed and I wake up at 4 a.m. and the thought comes in. What will happen to Hal? What will happen to me? Mind clenching into that. And one of the things that mind does then is to run into, I forgot to salute it, is to run into stories. Then that story, trying to picture myself safe, living in my tent. This could be okay. Oh, I don't have to live in a tent. Well, I'd rather live in a tent than a really ugly, horrible room in some cheap apartment. Can you feel the stories and the energy and the negativity? At this point, we note fear. Or just a contraction. I may not even be aware that I'm afraid. What is spurring the story? I don't know. Contracting. Breathing in, I am aware of the contraction. Breathing out, I hold space for the contraction. When I hold space for whatever has come up and is causing so much discomfort, there's space for it. We have enormous capacity for the fear, grief, pain, anger. If we will allow ourselves to experience these, but mostly we don't want to experience them. If we don't allow ourselves to experience them, then we shut ourselves off. A long time ago, probably 25 years ago, I was on a long retreat in Canada. Cold weather, snow up to here. In the middle of the night, I could feel the contraction in me and that there was something I had to let myself sink. My teacher said, go out and walk in the snow. It was 2 a.m. Go out and walk in the snow. So I went out and walked in the snow with my walking sticks for balance. Not walker, but walking sticks. And then the thought, let go of the walking sticks. But I'll fall. Because of my deafness, my middle ear, semicircular canal also was non-functional. So I don't have balance. I don't have normal ear balance. So I put the walking sticks aside, stood, and fell. And of course the snow was that deep. It wasn't a painful fall. It was landing in a soft cloud. I was warmly dressed. I got up, do it again, stand, fall. I must have fallen over 15 times, sitting on the ground for a minute or two after each fall, feeling landing wasn't hard. Letting myself fall was hard. I began to see how strongly I lived my life trying to be upright. Well, when I lost my hearing, I lost my hearing when my first son was born, 45 years ago. It was traumatic, and I was determined I will survive this. There's nothing I will not do but hear. Can you feel that? I will do it. I could see how I've been living my life all that time and trying to be upright, the strong one who can handle everything. And it was a major shift for me. This 25 years ago. Well, I thought I had long passed that old battle, that I had learned what I needed to. Yesterday, I saw how I was still, I could feel how strong, how hard my back was, and painful, and how much energy I was holding in the back, clenched. I was lying on a table, I was meditating, and as I felt that tension in my back, and it brought kind attention to it, there was a feeling almost like someone had opened a valve in my back, and tons of garbage and sludge were pouring out, all the accumulation of these 2 weeks. I should do better. I'm the one who always needs people to slow down. So it was very powerful to feel how I had been locking that energy. Obviously, this has been immensely traumatic. And I love my husband dearly. We are to celebrate. I will not use the past tense. Our 50th anniversary. I could feel how I was storing this grief, the fear in my body and especially in my back. So we do what is skillful. One part of a meditation, we have a small practice called clear comprehension of purpose. I asked myself as I was lying there, what is my highest purpose? Is it to armor myself in that way and push the feelings away? Or is it to allow myself to open? To be present with the pain. Because only when I'm present with pain can I be fully present with the love. We're here to live our lives fully. Trauma is going to happen to every one of you in some way or another. You're going to fall off your bike and break your wrist. A loved one is going to die. You're going to get sick or in a car accident. You're going to lose your job. A tree is going to be struck by lightning and fall on your house. This is life. We can't escape this. In order to live our lives with joy and love, we have to be willing to be present with the pain, the fear, the grief. To understand that this has arisen out of conditions, and it does not have to rule the rest of my life. Right here with fear is that which is not afraid. Right here with grief is the one who is joyful. It doesn't mean I shut out the grief or the fear or the anger, but rather I learn how to hold both, anger and the one who is not angry. Last night, sitting in my husband's room, meditating, maybe because of my experience earlier in the day, I was able to finally allow myself to feel how angry I was at him. Now, how can you be angry at someone who has had a stroke? It's not his fault. Basically, he took care of himself. We went to the gym every day. He was in good physical shape. But the anger is there. Look what you did to our lives. How could you have a stroke and the resentment? Well, I depended on him because he was a financial analyst in his working days to take care of all the paperwork. Why didn't you set it up somehow so we would have money for this? That's not his fault. This is the system we live in, and it's a bad system. Nursing home insurance is exorbitantly expensive, and we made a conscious decision years ago not to buy it. This is the result of our decision. But anger came up. So I sat there at first, allowing myself to feel the anger. Breathing in, I am aware of the anger. Just breathing and holding it. Breathing and holding a space for the anger. For those who may be watching this as a video, the reason I'm pausing and turning my head sometimes is that we have a student here who is completely deaf like I am. And someone is silent. And I'm going too fast. So I need to remember to slow down. Mindfulness. I'm speaking here to whoever will be watching this on the video. So then I began to do a compassion meditation. First, starting with myself and offering compassion to myself. Can I truly love myself and the pain I'm feeling? Hold myself in my heart and not condemn myself for being angry, for feeling fear, resentment, confusion. And then it turned into how? Just, I love you, unconditionally. I love you. And there's still anger and fear. That doesn't negate the love. So this is what I mean when I say that which is aware of anger. This is part of what I mean. When I say that which is aware of anger is not anger. That we can find right there with the anger, the one who genuinely loves, is open-hearted and tender, is not angry. Needing to put it all together. To find a way to hold space for our entire experience. I could not have lived these last 2 weeks without my meditation practice. I would have been totally overwhelmed. I would have spent my life curled on a fetal ball, sobbing. I couldn't have done it. The practice allowed me to know the experience of the moment. And just as important, how I was relating to that experience. And obviously, not completely, or I would have been storing all that tension in my back. So it took me 2 weeks to get in touch with the tension, but that's better than 2 months, or 2 years. It's really pretty much released now. I'm slump bucky. I no longer have to be tough. So I had some time alone in the room with Hal. And I did something I didn't think I could do. I was standing next to his bed and I bent over and put my head on his chest. I've done this a couple of times the past 2 days. His left arm is workable. So I took his left arm and put it on my face, and it felt good to feel his hand touching it. And I just let myself cry there with my head on his chest. I don't know, because it's a major stroke, His right side is completely paralyzed. He's beginning to become a little more responsive. He's opening his eyes and looking at people. But I have no idea if he recognizes that it's me, or had no idea. But last night as I was there, just not sobbing, but crying softly, I felt his fingers begin to move in my hair. That little bit of comfort, little bit of contact, saying, I am here. Don't worry, it's going to be okay. And what okay means is how I just felt myself for about 10 minutes, milled into his bed. Now, he could die tomorrow, today. Who knows? They told us they told us the first week, there's only a 5% chance he'll survive the first week. They told us the second week, there's only a 5% chance he'll ever get off the ventilator. Well, he's alive and off the ventilator. They told us when he left the ICU, there's only about a 10%, 20% chance he's going to survive the rest of the month. He will or he won't. I can't hold on to him. But when I can be present with my fear with kindness for myself and for him, allow myself that connection with him. It may be the last really human connection I'll ever have with him. In a sense, I was saying goodbye to him this night. And also, hello to him. Hello to the new Hal, however he is. And I promise, I love you. And I'll stick with you, and we'll see what happens. And I think he could feel that from me, too, at some level. He can't, we don't know how much he can understand. The stroke destroys the neural channels that allow the brain to send messages to the speech center, to the body. But the brain intelligence is intact. There's no way of knowing whether he understands speech. Several times we've seen that he has. Sometimes we've said, can you raise your hand? And he's raised his hand. So it may be that he's understanding us. Coming back to my talk. Can you see how important it is to allow ourselves to be present with things as they are and not shut ourselves down? This is the only way we can live our lives fully and with love. And I assume that's what we all want to do. You wouldn't be here. For each of you, it's going to be the hardest thing you've ever done. To find the places where you habitually shut it down. And to recognize, maybe I don't have to do that anymore. Maybe I can open my heart and just be present in this moment with the fear, pain, anger, and confusion of this moment. This is how the practice really changes us.